Hello everyone. So today I would like to be chatting with you all about how to bring your inner child with you. So I know that might sound a little weird, but I used to not really understand the concept of like inner child or like what that even means. So if that idea sort of turns you off or whatever, this you don't have to watch. I know that's like a really annoying disclaimer, but I just feel the need to say that for some reason. But I've been thinking about this concept because pretty much ever since I was a little kid, I was so creative. I think all of us are. It's not really that special to say that when you were a kid, you liked to play pretend and paint. And you probably made your Barbies or your G.I. Joes or whatever just talk to each other. You would come up with random personalities, you would personify things. Like, it was so much easier to keep us entertained back then than now. So where did that part of you go? I think, humans are creators. I believe that whenever the Bible says that we were created in that we were created in God's image or whatever, I interpret that as God, source, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe, is a creator, and we are creators, every single one of us. And if you don't identify with being a creative person now, chances are you left that part of you away in childhood whenever society told you that it wasn't okay to be that. So when I was like 3, I told my mom, I want to be a ballerina. And since the age of 2, would like dance and sing in the living room and like want my parents to videotape me and everything. When I watched movies, I didn't just watch, I acted out the characters as it was going on. All of that. And I think we all have stories like that. I used to create like family friend talent shows. We would like go to the lake with my parents had like 5 other families they're friends with, and I was the oldest among like 13 kids. When I was 8, I was like, we're gonna do a talent show. Like, you have a talent, you have a talent, you have a talent. I would just organize it all. I always used to write skits and then perform them for my family. So that's how I've always been. So, and, even throughout middle school, I did, I've been singing since I was 8. I did comedy, like improv. I did community theater. I did that all throughout high school. And one of the most painful experiences I ever went through was around age 17, whenever I realized that it just wasn't practical or tangible for me to continue music in the way that I have. It's very hard for adults to have hobbies because at some point you have to start focusing on, survival, some of us have to focus on survival at a way younger age than others. And I want to take a moment to consider that and value that not everybody goes through that, oh, I need to survive myself when they graduate, because not everybody has parents that have the means to take care of them. So I definitely want to hold a space for that. But at some point, you realize that you being creative and artistic isn't quite possible. And I guess I want to say that it is possible. It's just difficult in this world because not everybody values it in the same way, because for such a long time, society and humans, we've really focused on the left side of our brain of like, we need to be logical, we need to be practical, we need to focus on ourselves first. And art is beauty. It's also seen as luxury. But the problem is, if we're focusing so much on the left side of the brain, why stay alive? if there's nothing beautiful about life? Why eliminate beauty for survival's sake? That doesn't make sense. Because when you eliminate beauty for survival's sake, then you're surviving with nothing to live for. So I did an exercise in meditation yesterday that I want to share with you, where I tried to envision telling my younger selves, my ballerina self, my choir person self, my theater self, my comedian self, and I told her that I would like her to come with me now as a almost 25-year-old human and bring that creative energy to my life, to everything that I'm doing now. Because the fact is, I'm in a crossroads of my life where I can either continue to doubt myself and my gifts, or I can jump in to who I am and who I'm meant to be with playful, creative energy. And whenever I was younger, I was playful, but somehow that got lost. Everything is fun and playful when you're a child. You don't quite realize, you weren't quite conditioned to be afraid the way that, we are now as adults. And I was thinking, I have to take some big risks in my life. I have been being halfway myself on the internet, showing parts of myself that I think will be accepted for a long time. I've been holding back on my spirituality, not really sharing that fully. I've been holding back on not really sharing my personality stuff with, my in real life friends. I've been segmented where part of this is here, part of this is here, and it's all based on what I think people will accept. The fact is, I need my whole self to jump in to my next phase of life for it to work out, because everything is so chaotic right now. I know that you can feel it. Every single person that I've talked to lately, whether that be people I've worked with, some clients I've had, my family members, my friends, everybody seems to be at a crossroads where it's like, I can feel that something good might be happening, but everything around me has to crumble in order for me to get that. A lot of people are going through breakups, changing a job, because the thing is, in order to get what you really want, you have to let go of the things that you sort of kind of want, and in order to get that. And I think that, energy speeding up, I don't know if you can feel it. I know I can. Things are speeding up emotionally. And what's happening is that human beings, we are at a crossroads. You're either going to give into fear and continue manifesting a lot of things you don't want. Because the thing is that sometimes you have to reach rock bottom in order to realize that there's nothing to lose. There's no way but up. A lot of you will have to reach rock bottom to feel that there's a ground to stand on and be like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. And so I'm going to use that ground to stand on to jump up to who I know that I want to be and the life I want to live. There's that breaking point where you're like, well, mediocrity isn't an option anymore. And being numb to my emotions isn't an option anymore. And sometimes it has to get worse before it gets better. I hope it doesn't have to do that for you. I hope that you don't have to reach rock bottom. But the thing is, we are being tested on a mass scale. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm at rock bottom, but even I am at a point where I've been wanting to grow and put myself out there for a very long time. I've been wanting to work for myself and be an entrepreneur. I've been wanting to help people. The fact is, I haven't valued myself enough to say, okay, well, if you want my help, here's how to pay me. And I know a lot of you guys know this. Like, a lot of you guys, if you've been following me for a while, I have been pretty much just neglecting. I've been afraid to put myself out there, really. I mean, to a lot of people, you might think, oh, but you really do put yourself out there compared to me or compared to most. The fact is, I haven't been putting myself out there all the way. And that's because I am afraid of chaos. I'm afraid of the unknown. And I'm afraid to be playful and happy about these uncertain times in life. I'm so serious and my body can feel so tense. I just want everything to work out just exactly as I want. So that's why I invited my past selves to come with me and bring that playful energy to now. Because I guarantee you they are going to think it's really fun. And I told my past selves, like, hey, like, you know how you always wanted to be on stage? Well, look at you now, because you actually have an audience now. Isn't that pretty cool? And you know, my 5-year-old self thought that was really, really cool, because that's all she ever wanted, was to be seen. And somewhere along the line, I was told, whether it's subconsciously or in real life, a series of messages that I've gotten from the world that people didn't want to see me. And that it wasn't okay to be seen. It wasn't okay for me to be on the playground practicing my solo because people made fun of me. It was like, why aren't you playing kickball? You know, like, people made fun of me for being in the talent show every year. And it's like, something in my soul wants to be seen, not because I need attention or validation. And you know, I think we all do to some extent. So I kind of want to take that back. It's not like I don't want that. But the thing is, this is a desire that's been in me my entire life. I just enjoy performing. I just enjoy creating. And I think a lot of people on YouTube relate to that. And I know I have found YouTube as the only thing to bring me passion, that aside from music. So I'm going to share with you guys something I wrote yesterday. But pretty much I've been playing with the idea of what does it mean to be a musician? And how can I be a musician at heart, whether or not I'm actually singing? Because I don't feel like myself when I'm not singing. I don't know if you guys know that. Like, I seriously, if I'm not singing, and I realized this last night, that I have gone 2 years without being in a choir, which is the longest time that I've gone without singing. Like, I barely even sing in the car anymore. And last night I was listening to all these choir songs I used to sing, and I was just bawling my freaking eyes out. Because that amount of emotion and that passion that I used to be able to express, I didn't always take it I kind of took it for granted back then to some extent. But like, the thing is, like, that's a part of me that needs to come out. It needs to come out. And I can't wait until I have the financial security and the means and the time to join a choir, which I don't have right now, to be honest. I don't have that right now. And it's so painful, the way that hobbies are just ripped from us. As adults, we don't get to have hobbies. Like, that is not the sort of world that I want to live in, and I don't think anybody wants to live in that world that doesn't have beauty and passion accessible for all. So here's what I wrote about what being a musician means to me. To be a musician means to share your soul with the world in a way that reverberates to the audience. It requires passion, intention, and harmony. It requires you to glide through the dissonance with ease. To live as a musician at heart is to always be free to be, whether or not you're singing the same note as the others around you. You trust that by the end of the song, you'll all come together again. Because that's how melodies work. Sometimes you're in sync, sometimes you're not, but it's all of it that makes it beautiful. And at the end, if it's like that saying, if it's not okay, it's not the end. It'll be okay in the end. things are so cyclical where, yes, there's always going to be tension, but then there's always going to be the release of that tension. And it's that tension that makes the release of the tension beautiful. And that's what beauty is. I don't know if you guys have heard of, like, Eric Whitaker is a choral, I think he's a conductor as well, but an arranger. A lot of choirs, if you were in choir, will just be so obsessed with wanting to sing Eric Whitaker because there's so many dissonance and it's so hard to just stay on your note. Like, I was an alto, so I always had to feel the dissonance between the sopranos and the tenors and all that. That's so powerful because then when you come together, it's so beautiful after all that dissonance. And that's the way I want to live my life. And I want to live my life as a creator in whatever I'm doing. And I invite you all to bring your past selves with you, whether or not you have the life right now that you literally want. If you can bring that attitude, that playfulness of a child to what you're doing, it's gonna feel easier to take risks, and it's gonna feel easier to be yourself. And the fact is, I'm at a point where I don't care anymore. Like, I can't pretend to be what I'm not. Like, that is too painful. And I think everybody, you're gonna have to get to that point eventually, but the more you're resisting it, the harder it'll be. So I don't want anybody to feel that they have to resist who they are, because you were created for a reason. And the dissonance between, like, introverted thinking and extroverted thinking and introverted feeling and extroverted feeling, all of that, these things, I made a video before, learn to play bumper cards. I will tag that somewhere here. If you are not okay with the playfulness of the bumper cards, the fact that by me expressing myself right now, there are bound to be people that disagree with me. People that think that the way that I express my spirituality doesn't represent their God, or things like that. There's gonna be people. There's always gonna be people. And you have to be okay that you being you is going to create dissonance. So you can learn through tapping into your inner child, whatever you want to say, can help you glide through that. And my inner child is a musician. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. I would love to hear any of your comments if you relate, or if you have anything you'd like to share. Thank you for allowing me to be me. I am more grateful than I know how to say. Like, if it was not for you guys, I really don't know where I'd be right now, because I don't know if I'd have any hope, and I don't know if I'd be okay with the fact that I'm not a musician right now. But to me, the way that I like to create on YouTube is like music to me. And thank you guys for supporting me. Have a wonderful rest of your day.